All right, people, here we are. We're going to Cartagena, Columbia. I'm really jazzed about that. You know I love adventure, and we're going to take it. So the first thing I wanted to do was look up Cartagena and see what it means in English. There you have it. Cartagena in English means Cartagena. Clearly not as exotic as I thought it would be. Nonetheless, we were headed there. I'm still excited. I didn't know what to expect. We were just going out with friends. We're going to do a little tour, check out some things. South America, Colombia, Cartagena, here we come. So here we are. We started exploring. We're on a double-decker boat. Music going on and stuff like that. There's a little party barge, and they went to give us a tour of the bay. We had a good time on there and stuff. I had my new 360 camera with me. I broke that out, and I have my best cartel shirt on and some cool sunglasses. We got to see a cool statue of the Virgin Mary. First one was destroyed by lightning. We also got to see this awesome sailing ship which is hanging out. Then in the distance, I saw this cool fortress. It's huge. I was looking, oh my God, I hope we go see this. Sadly, even despite my cool cartel shirt, we sailed right on by it. I was a little bummed. As we continued on, I saw something else coming up on us. It was a replica of a Spanish galleon, maybe even a pirate ship. It looked really cool. I was hoping to check that out. Fortunately, it was actually just a dinner barge, but it looked neat. I was impressed. Along the ground, I noticed there was a couple fortifications, cannon slots and stuff. Maybe we'd be getting into something interesting. This is about where we docked. And the wife and I are really excited about it. We're going to get off. The weather was great. Go out with all of our friends and everything. We're going to walk down the street. We're going to the old town. I didn't know what to expect. But as we got closer, I saw cannons. I saw a guard tower. Huge stone walls from coral. Oh boy, I'm getting excited. This looks awesome. The old city covered about 12 square kilometers. That's about 4.6 square miles for those of us who don't use the metric system. It was founded in the early 1500s. Mainly the Spanish were there. They'd conquered the place, and they built a fortification to stop the pirates who were sailing the Caribbean to take in their goods. The main export was silver from Bolivia. That went straight to Spain to give to the king. The main import were slaves from Africa. As much as we don't like to talk about it, it did happen, and we need to brace history so we don't repeat it. I was still excited about seeing the city though. This would be really neat. Next we made it to the city's main gate. It looked to be built in the early 1700s, judging by the way it was fashioned and everything. It had 3 openings. This is for all the people to come in and out, not merchants, just guests basically. And the gates were open from 6 to 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. This is every day, so people come in and out and do their shopping or whatever they had to do, or seek shelter inside the city. So this is where everybody did their shopping. And if you see the statue over here, that was the old governor. He was a cool dude, but unfortunately a little tight on the pockets because he stole money from the king of Spain. Spain sent him a letter. Hey brah, you need to come back to Spain. You were in trouble, we have the evidence. So he got a boat, sailed back to Spain, but the boat actually only sank right outside the homeland waters. Nobody survived. Legend has it, he made it to Portugal, and he's sitting on the beach drinking cervezas for the rest of his life. We followed the wall, passing through some narrow streets to the next courtyard, which is that large open space. This is where the merchants unloaded their stuff. The shopping was done over the back part. This is for the merchants and stuff. It's also where some of the slaves were brought. I was told that some of the houses there were actually with the wealthy slave owners and people who traded slaves. I guess they made a big money back then. There we have a statue of Christopher Columbus. Columbia, it turns out, is named after him. I did not know that. Who did I think it was named after? Well, Detective Columbo, of course. Our guide was taking us through the city streets and everything. I thought they'd be more windy inside, and I was surprised to see they were just pretty straight. Turns out, most of the time the breeze is blowing from north to south, or south to north, depending on the season. So the city streets, all the main ones, are built north to south. That way it helps flush out the air of the city, doesn't make it so stale and stagnant. especially back in the day when they really didn't have that much for plumbing. They kept it going because the breeze was nice, and they tried to get us to buy jewelry, but we just kind of passed on because I wanted to explore a little bit more. These doors were pretty impressive. The big doors were only open for the owners of the home or special guests that were coming through. The small door on the side, that was strictly for the servants going in and out. And all the extra ornaments on there, the lion head and all the extra brass and stuff, that was a sign of wealth for everybody to see. We were close to the center of town when we found this cathedral. Beautiful building, towering, just made of rock and everything. The tour guide didn't say much about it, so unfortunately I don't know the history behind this one. It was loud there though, with a lot of street vendors and stuff. We snuck inside a little peek. Just towering columns, beautiful artwork, a really nice holy building and everything. I enjoyed the inside of it and all that. So just enjoy the view. The city square was our next stop and everything, and unfortunately by then street peddlers were on us pretty good and everything, and there was music playing real loud, and I could not hear our guide talk about the statue, but the trees were beautiful and everything, and we enjoyed it still. I mean, it was nice, but we just kind of huddled together and walked along. Our guide dropped us off and everything, said we'd have almost an hour to go goof off and check out things we wanted. So we headed out down this narrow street here, where some of it was couldn't even park on. It was so incredible because I wanted to hit the outer wall on the backside of the city, away from all the tourists. And sure enough, we found it. It was pretty cool. This awesome guard tower was locked up, but not correctly, so unfortunately someone had to go in there and goof off. I was really surprised to see how wide that wall was. It's really impressive. But I figured that was probably to get horses up there, pulling cannons and stuff, because those things do weigh a ton. And that way they can move troops around pretty easy. It was an awesome sight though, and there's a lot of tour buses, which explained why the city was so crowded inside. This part of the city wall did have a moat, at least it seemed that way. It might have just been for drainage, because it wasn't very impressive. It was only a couple feet wide. Maybe the attackers had real fancy tennis shoes and didn't want to get them wet. I don't know. I do wish we had more time to check things out, because I would have loved to have walked all the way around that wall. It's still really impressive though, and how it just continued to go on. It's been standing for 500 years, so I checked it out as much as we could. On the way back, we passed by this old naval building, which is connected to yet another huge cathedral. The building had some old ornaments out there from World War II, I imagine, and everything. The foundation of it, you can see this, the original wall was from the 1500s, clearly. But then we went around to the church to get inside. That was neat. The next story we heard was about this priest. He would stand up there in that highest balcony up there and watch for slave ships to come in. The ships came in with slaves that were injured or very sick. They were just left to die. He would bargain for their freedom, nurse them back to health. In fact, the slave he's standing right next to him wasn't a slave in a statue. It was a freed man and his friend. The bands on his arm show that he was baptized. The main doors to the church were closed, and we didn't want to disturb him, so there was a side entrance to go to this beautiful courtyard in between the Navy building and the church. It's really beautiful. An employee told us about a hidden stairwell that took us to the upper part of the church if we still wanted to see inside of it. We promised to remain quiet and took the stairs. That was neat. Up on the loft, we had a clear view of the church. Beautiful building again. Down by the altar, you can see it's lit up. That's the remains of the priest. I'm not sure if they canonized him as a saint, but probably should be. Probably saved a lot of lives. We also had the old pipe organ up there. I don't know if they still use it or not. Amazing building, though. I was glad I got to see it. And with that, our adventure came to a close. Thanks so much for joining us. The wife and I left the city, got back on the boat, had a rum and coke each, and just enjoyed the rest of our cruise. You all take care. God bless you.